You attract the people you reflect and mirror, and not everybody can be pleased by being surrounded by folks that are happy, right? I think sometimes your light can irritate people's demons. Many friends ask me all the time, I'm like, look, 99.9% of my interactions are amazing, and I will bump into 0.1% of idiots, and the 99.9 make it worth it and worth it. So yeah. I mean, you you give the best of yourself every day and see what comes out, huh?
Real people, real stories, and real challenges that break the status quo. I'm your host, Zivile, and welcome to Perception Paradox. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Perception Paradox. My name is Zivile, and I'm your host. And today's guest is Noa Khamallah, entrepreneur, investor, and founder of Don't Quit Ventures, a global VC fund backing founders in emerging markets. Noa's story is one of resilience, reinvention, and belief. From growing up in ghettos of France, facing incarceration and homelessness, to co-founding companies, scaling startups like Lime across Europe, and helping take one public on the Nasdaq, here's proof that your past doesn't define your future. In this episode, we talk about finding happiness through adversity, the power of mindset and support, diversity and inclusion in venture capital, and why small wins matter on the path to success. This is about turning pain into purpose and building something bigger than yourself. This is Don't Quit with Noa Khamallah. You've been going through a lot in your life, right? Where do you get your positivity? Do you think you were born with some kind of more wired brains into positivity, or there was some critical moments when you were growing up that actually planted the seed of looking the world through different lens?
I really wonder if there's a genetic factor that somehow will influence more our personality in a way or another, depending on the environment you're born into, quite frankly. And that's something I'm really curious to read about now. Now you're asking me this. I believe that there are strong factors there that are at play. Number two is when you have nothing, you then become happy with everything. And I think that the happiest people, they manage to build amazing stuff out of nothing. And that's fulfillment, right? So when you come from an environment that there is not much, you're so happy with it because you turn it into everything. And what you get is just bonus. So you can only be happy with it. Sometimes now, I mean, with my job, Zivile, I mean, I bump into some ultra rich born kids, golden spooned kids, and they can't find fulfillment nor happiness because they haven't mastered the art of turning nothing into something because everything was handed over to them. And that's an interesting picture. So I say very often I was saying this to Sarah, drink water. She's a GP at Common Magic, and we chat pretty often. And I was telling her, hey, girl, I'm so glad we are not born rich. So glad. By definition, folks you meet when you raise capital and everything, you will meet like some very wealthy folks. I met, for example, a kid that comes from one of the biggest luxury house in the world, and he runs the FO there. And I really believe never I have met someone that was so unhappy by having everything he wants. And I think that the bottom line for him was, well, I can just buy anything I want all the time. So what's hard for me to do then? It was an interesting landing phrase, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So struggles and overcoming them fulfills you and gives you a sense of realization that nothing else can buy. That's where the happiness comes.
And
My man.
what is happiness? What does happiness mean to you? Is it a state of emotion? Is it some kind of, I don't know, can we always be happy?
Now, you got to be extremely sad and broken to experience true happiness. It's like you don't know what's a win if you didn't experience loss. You got to lose to enjoy a real win.
How do you cope with losing?
I enjoy losing. I really do.
Yeah,
I
what do
really
you
do
like about it?
because, hey, that's what I tried. That's the outcome. Next move. but like right away. I mean, look, if you focus on shit, shit grows. If you focus on solution, solution grows. It's as simple as that. It's like when you want to date a girl, and in high school, I was kind of skinny like this, and I had a voice like that, and which didn't get any any different anyway now. And seriously, and I had like things here on my teeth, and seriously, trying to get a girl back in the days, it was like trying to get an elephant to fly. I mean, man, and all the time I was getting a no, I was just laughing. I think the what gets you through the losses is the ability of laughing at yourself, and that's how I cope. And laughing so much about it that it turns it into nothing, and you just keep going.
You know, when I was preparing for our conversation and we met with you last year during the Next Web, and the way we met, I just sent you a message, right? That, oh, I'm going to be emceeing the stage you're talking on. And I love the name of your venture because, like, don't quit ventures, man. It resonates like perception paradox, don't quit, positivity, and everything. I find that we just kind of vibed in a way. And then, of course, I was like, okay, so what are we going to talk about? What's your story? How are we going to reveal that story and so on? And what captivated me through all the different things you've been going through in your life, you're literally in this healthy approach, or at least from what we've been discussing, into different situations, positivity, humor. And one quote that was kind of highlighted, I think, either in one of the articles, like, others people's opinions don't have to become your reality, right? And that's a quote you've got from your grandmother that you met later in your age and that she actually grew you. So when was the moment you realized that deeply? Because one thing is when someone follows us the seed and tries to explain that basically other people and your own mind are different kind of things and opinions. Do you remember the moment when actually that switched in your head? Because as I, when you're growing up, right, the
It took years.
external environment can be really harsh on us, and we don't know whom do we believe, we don't know whom do we follow, and we're kind of lost human beings for a
Do you
long
follow
time.
Jesus?
Yeah.
Oh, the Jesus! Oh, the Lord! I think I had it the hard way. I had it through not having clothes in school when I was young, and always being dirty on me, the last in class, and being a real walking clown, not having a family social structure. And all the time I went back to grandmother. Sometimes I think soccer mostly was, hey, nobody gives me the ball at soccer because I sucked. And I still suck at 40 years old, by the way. And I mean, I have giraffe legs. It is very hard to control. And so they shoot this way, the ball goes this way. And I was telling her, I was crying. I was like 9, 8 years old. I was like, nobody wants to give me the ball. And she was just putting herself on her knees, and she was 80 years old back then. And she always looked me in my eyes and say, hey, don't complain. Don't be a victim. And if nobody gives you the ball, then get the ball. Ultimately, nobody cares about you when you complain and you're a victim. People will care when you win. So go back out there and win. It's very tough and rough to say this to a kid that comes from comfort with warming tears, but it designs the mindset of you where you literally will just go and keep at it until you get it done. I'm 40 years old. I didn't get it done, but the complaining part, the being sad part is not there. You focus on trying to find ways to get it. And it was same when I was telling you, hey, I always have the same clothes. We smell. I don't wash, blah, blah, blah. And it was kind of nightmarish. And she always told me that. She was like, look, what your friends think, first, they're not feeding you. It's hard for a child to understand this concept. They're not feeding you. Two, they are not paying your rent. And three, their opinion of you, it doesn't have to become your reality. What they think is none of your business, actually. You should matter of your own business. And by doing so, I think she freed me over the years over something that is a cancer in our society where forks live through each other's eyes. You live in prison. Forks are in prison, designed by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking crazy. And as such, I think this made me stronger to go through incarceration, to go through exposure, to go through the hell I had to in my life post that, and then keep going. So yeah, it comes from there. It's not one day, when you wake up and say, to rewire the mind, to build yourself defenses and mechanism that becomes a part of who you are. Significantly takes time. People only celebrate big milestone. You should celebrate the smallest daily victories you accomplish because deals piles up and they become your damn pyramid. Here you are, Pharaoh, Cleopatra, and whatever you name it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. Little steps. So it was gradual. That's the answer.
And how did you find your way back to your, let's say, original path you're taking right now? Being exposed to the wrong environments, having perhaps different and challenging experiences in life. And you know how it is, right? Your environment really has a big influence on you. Unless you leave that circle, then high chances you won't make a change. So it can be from the habits to education to work, whatever. How did that happen to you that you managed to make a change and completely transform your life?
I think because I found someone who believed in me. Sometimes you have to find someone who believes in you before you can believe in yourself. It's fucking crazy. I never believed in the self-made man whole story there. I truly think that there is always somebody that gave you a chance, always somebody that provides you an opportunity, always someone, because the world you interact is with others. A self-made man for me is I take you and I drop you in vacuum space and then you sort yourself out without anything. Then to me, you'll be self-made. However, should you get help from somebody and so on, then you are the sum of all of that plus you, of course. So I met one person that trusted in me and that told me, that was back in 2010, there is a way more to you than that. And you are away enough yourself on who you are than just trying to be what you're not. And you can really make something out of your life. And then step by step. And this took time. So for me, yeah, I think encounters in life, the right encounter can change your life. But
It kind of resonates to me a lot what you're saying about having someone who, at least one person who believes in you, that really can give you such a big inner strength when you, especially when your lack of belief in your own self and you have your hands down that anything can work out, no matter in which life situation. So that's really great to hear that you found someone who believed actually and you made this leap of change towards a different path.
you found someone. So you have somebody who believed in you, a guy,
Yeah,
a girl.
I feel like yeah, I'm very fortunate that I have someone who's been going through my life and different people, different stages, but yeah. And that really makes a big difference, right? Whenever I was doing when I was young, kind of wild card decisions in my life. That's how I live life, I guess. I just go all in changes. There was always someone behind who put full trust. Usually it would be my parents, right? Who would never understand what am I doing and what would I decide. But they just said, well, it's your life. We trust you. We don't understand what you're going to create now or do or why you're moving to whatever, Croatia. But well, let's see which. And I think that when I was reflecting back, that was enough for me to just fully embrace the adventure instead of being afraid. So perhaps, yeah, that's one of the ways. How did you cope with initial rejections, right? At the beginning, when you were trying to break through tech, it's in general very difficult to break through. And then you're coming from very different background, right? So how did you manage to actually overcome and keep pushing? Because many people give up after 3 no's, no matter what.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You see, it goes back to my grandmother when I was young on framing the mind. I left high school at 16 years old. I came back home. I told her, hey, I want to do door-to-door sales. And she started to cry. And she told me all these struggles. So you can leave school and what you're going to do with your life? Like knock at people's door? Is that what you're going to do with your life? I said, yes. And I came back home one day and I say, fuck, nobody's is replying. Nobody's saying yes. People slamming doors at my face. I never took it personal. I was pretty much stronger back then than I was when I was a kid. So I took everything with love. And what happened is she always told me that was people are so negative and tired that they will say no 10 times before they say yes. So keep at it. The same door every day or every week, renew your strategy, be creative, wait from the person to go put the trashes out and jump like a cat without being creepy and that kind of stuff. So she really framed that and turns out I have not only reached my goals, but exceeded them by far. And this also framed something is that my self-worth, I was good at something because before that, I wasn't good at school at all. And the only thing we tell you when you're born when you start entering the schooling system, which is pretty early, 5, 6 years old, is you really need to do well at school, otherwise your life is fucked. That was the thing. And I sucked at that big time. So self-esteem, there is nothing, and I'm good at nothing. I come from nothing. We have nothing, if not much. And that's the first thing I managed to crack and be very good at. And it really cemented in me that folks are so negative that I will tell you no 10, 20 times before they say yes. And that's a given. And when you get to know, dodge it, okay? Literally slap it, don't even hear it, and step back, rethink, re-engage. No, step back, rethink, re-engage. Other way, other path, until you find the crack. It's like a spermatozoid when it gets to the egg. It tries to find a path in to create life. That's the same thing. Think of you as a spermatozoid. Yeah, the analogy is weird, I know. But no, that's honestly
I know, good
when...
analogy.
And then it got me fast forward to tech. So I think that's something I would like to get through on your podcast is whoever's listening to you or not listening, or you to me, is you can be who the fuck you want at whatever point of your life. And there is no situation where we should put just somebody in the box, put a label on it like we do in products, and say, right, that's it, and it's going to be it for the rest of his life or her life. No. You deny people your own humanity then, and you have 5,000 chemical reactions a second in your body. You're in constant evolution of change. You're changing constantly. What I want to say is, you can be a fraud, you can be a con artist, you can be a liar, you can be someone that's not cool, you can be someone that's lost, you can be fucked up at what point in your life, and years later, you can be fundamentally honest person, you can be fundamentally truthful person, you can be fundamentally reliable person, you can be fundamentally charitable person, and you can be on your core DNA, your whole antithesis. And that's the whole point of life, is change. Not change your core self, the funny girl you are, the loving person you are, blah, 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 but change your behavior towards your self-esteem and what you want to become. And when I got to apply to get salesman's jobs, it was tough because you have records, some public. And when I tried to break into tech, here's what happened. It was very funny.
I like funny stories.
Zivile, that's fucking crazy. And I speak here to everybody that has or doesn't have a school degree, have or doesn't have school experience, look or doesn't look good socially. Who fucking cares? What matters is what you want to do now and wants to take a direction in life. So you are that, or top executive that want to do something else. So you are that, you can achieve whatever you set your mind into. And when I broke into micromobility, not only I knew that I will have to honor the people who gave me a chance. That's number one. That Gen Z or Gen X or whatever fucking name we are giving them are forgetting a bit too often, young kids now. You owe thank you to somebody who gave you a hand. You owe fucking thank you. Because they chose you over someone else. Because you're good, but also because they wanted to. And that wanted part, you get to say thank you to it. That's me, and that's the old school me. That's how I've been raised. Number two, so gratefulness. Number two, because of the trust that was entrusted into you, you got to fucking over-deliver. And you got to overachieve every day. Not just one Tuesday and one Thursday every 6 months. Every day. Because that consistency rewards the former version of yourself that won the interview, got the job, and also rewards the people who entrusted in you. Third part here was colleagues. Understand that not everyone will be happy if you outperform. Not everybody will be happy if you over-deliver. And certainly not folks who have the right degree, who come from the right background, who did everything like we told them to do. Go to school, get a degree, be a good boy, play tennis, go to uni, get the job, you're amazing. But if you come and convict, ghetto, no degrees, prison, hood, and fucked up life, and you get the same job, but not only that, but you outperform, what you may bump into is folk is like, fuck, this guy doesn't deserve this. How come? And plus, if you have unconventional approaches, which I do, I always end up doing what 99% of people are not. Ha! No wonder I'm part of top 1% worldwide when it gets wealth now. Ha! So the third pillar there is internal competition and perception. And it goes back again to youth. Other people, opinion of you doesn't have to become your reality. Focus on what you do best and get it and win. So I managed to hyperscale Lime as first mover in cities myself with my fucking backpack, with the trust of the leadership, and cracked it. And then with the unease I may have left or not left, I won. And that's what really matters, as being a testament that we are all born equal or not equal, but either way, we all should have a fair shot at life. Right? Doesn't matter where you come from, who you are, what's your sexuality, what's your background, what's your handicap or not handicap. What really matters, and something on the fourth pillar, or I broke into mobility, is that nobody will never be able to take away your result, period. If you always come on top of the list, your numbers are way above target, and that you exceed all expectations, absolutely no fucking body can take that away from you. And this became my superpower. Always deliver way more than I'm being paid for by all standards, and always be grateful to people who help me out. Voila. That's how I broke into it.
That's wild
That's
and
well.
truly inspiring.
That's it.
I'm
Work
so
hard,
proud of you.
play hard, work hard, play hard.
And you had the kind of successful moves within the startup scene, but I think what very interesting and admiring right now to see what you do with Don't Quit Ventures, right? And for me, it even seems that that name that you chose, it resonates a lot with the fund mission. Can you tell us more? How was it for you raising money for the fund? And how do you stand out among all this tug bros landscape? Because if we look into the investment landscape, it's kind of we're still trying to diversify to make it more inclusive, but the realities are very different. And from the investment landscape and to who is behind the funds, what was your story coming up that, okay, now I'm going to create a fund that's backing founders in emerging markets? And how was it for you to also raise money for the fund?
That's so venture capital is by design a very privileged asset class, especially when it gets to GPs and real partners, right? Not principals or senior associate or whatever. Or even there, I would like to see how the diversity looks like. There is an interesting contradiction I have for myself, Zivile, and will get us back to grandmother, back to step one. She's the one who raised me. I didn't have a mama. And my dad was a truck driver, so I never met him much. Here's the thing. If you victimize, at least to me, if you victimize folks and you hand them everything over and, oh my God, poor you, and the world is treating you bad, and I'm so sorry, and you will create victims. You will create complainers, and you will create people who were not pushed to find the strength within themselves to overcome what is systemically there, but would rather complain about it and suffer from it. I personally would have felt very insulted if I ever got hired and my background was not pretty, at least perceptually speaking, because whoever scratch sees that it's not much at all, but is that I would have felt very, very, very angry if I ever got hired based on my skin color or my origin or where I come from or whatever quotas some folks would like to put in there. I want to be hired for my skill set and what I deliver, because then I have a feeling of worthiness of what I can bring, not because of a charity action of what I represent, which is more centered on the collectivism rather than individualism. So I would have felt very bad on that, but yet we can't help to notice in this world that women are underrepresented, people of colors in Western countries are underrepresented, and so on. So yes, those are facts. Do we need ethnic quotas? Do we need to move the ball forwards towards enlightenment? in the 21st century, which is crazy when you think about it, when it gets to some color and so on. Yes, we do need that. Do I strongly believe that today HR managers and partners on VC funds and all of that have a conscious thinking process of we don't want black people or Arab or someone that is Muslim or someone that is a woman? I do not believe so. Do I believe it's subconsciously there by design, given the environment they evolve in and the people they interact the most in? Yes. Should we influence that design? The answer is yes. So to get to your point, I want to say that, inclusion and all these beautiful words. And when George Floyd died in the US, all these big corpos came out with their DEI and everything, only to figure out years later nobody was there. And when Trump passed, nobody said shit. And you see their results, and also because you have ethnic quotas in the US, so you can have data. They're nowhere there, which was just a horrible publicity stunt on the death of someone. So what I want to say is, yes, these measures are good to be there, for sure. Personally, I would have felt bad if I was hired under these parameters ever in my life. But do we need to keep changing mindsets and giving access to folks of full diversity in its all glory? I think yes. And do I think this is coming to be inevitable over time? I also think so too. So how was it to raise a fund when you are somebody that came from nothing, that scaled unicorns, had one IPO under his belt, 20 successful angel investments with 7 exits in there?
Wild.
Then it's a story that tells, I know how to make money and I know how to generate more money with my own money. So let's work together. And I thought I will attract a type of LP that didn't come true at all. And I ended up attracting folks like artists, athletes, rappers, fund of funds like Allocator One or Hypernova or Alpha Q guys that have a mind that can take a way outside the box to folks that will bring also results that are outside the box. So you need both. And that's, to me, through the success I can get, also to my LPs and folks who believe in me, a statement of success that explains itself. You don't need to say I'm Muslim. You don't need, we are a bunch of convicted athletes, rappers or whatever that turned great. We don't need to say shit. It's self-explanatory. And I want everybody to be successful that way. Self-explanatory. Voilà. Despite the hard context, and you just keep navigating. Honestly, Zivile, I'm not, I really believe somehow it's also a disservice to just try to highlight too much or be too woke about discriminations that are going all around, because you over time can cause them a disservice. Voilà. I really think so. But again, that's me, and that's based
That's
on
very
what I've been
important.
through.
Yeah. But that's very important to share, and I think it's a very also tricky.
The thing is, today, you live in a world that is so reactivist that anything you said or anything you say can easily be turned around or misinterpreted. I mean, we live in a world where we don't accept people's different opinions. This is what I say when I'm often in the US. Is like when we speak about elections, and the last one we had, I'm like, I'm telling you now, the fact that I don't think like you doesn't make me your enemy.
Yeah.
It makes me someone that can somehow potentially make you more aware of some stuff I think, and you can make me more aware of some stuff you think, and not polarize. And when I go speak to kids, because I go to high school, speak to kids, and I back high schools to go to the US from underprivileged kids to see what it is to dream and that they can get there too. I tell them every day, do not be a bunch of victims. Be winners instead, and winners don't complain.
When you were shifting your mindset from the victim to winner, and then you said that breaking into through your new career path, hearing the no's, etc., that you had to believe in your vision. Nowadays, we talk a lot about visualization, journaling, etc. Was there anything of the rituals or something you've been doing every day, or that kept you going, or was it simply showing up and setting the direction what I'm gonna achieve no matter what?
Yeah, that. Show up and do the thing. Just do things. Do things. Don't read too much book on leaderships and blah, blah, blah. Just go and get it done. And you know what? Most of the job I took or I got, I had no idea how to do it. You just learn on the way. It's okay. It works.
Oh
It's
my
fine.
God.
You will get there.
You'll get in one, but that's again interesting because then we could dive into the gender, right? And the way we make the decisions. That females are more risk aware. So let's say if something we don't know, more chances that they're not gonna use the chance to take the opportunity in comparison to male, and that's actually been quite researched on the behavioral studies. So again, that's I guess depends
Go,
on the
girls.
standard. I
Go,
think literally
girls.
just go, yeah. I think a
Go,
community power of a
girls.
tribal.
I mean, like, it doesn't work. You learn. It works. Amazing. But either way, it's great.
For
I
sure.
mean, do you think I knew anything about venture capital before I started to my angel
You knew
investment?
how to make money.
Yeah, but like I was like, what is TVPI? What is
Yeah.
MYC? What's the fucking difference between these two things? DPI, blah blah. I was like scratching my head. I had no fucking idea. But one thing I knew, and one thing I was damn convinced is that I wanted to be a solo GP and I wanted to raise a fund.
So tell me now, so right now being a solo GP, growing your fund investing, what are you focused on?
I'm sector agnostic, puppy. SMEs and SMBs are literally like backbones of the Middle East. I mean, you're around there now. Thriving economies, thriving GDPs, liquid markets, especially in Saudis, great LATAM. I mean, fuck me, man. It's just an amazing thing to do. Early stage and stuff that are transformative from this area of the world that only receive 9% of global VC funding, yet people they spend
Mm-hmm.
more than they account for 50% of the global consumption in value. So the disparity there is mental. But what we can see is that you will have less Europeans as you go because we're aging. Same for the US, while African nations, Asian nations are literally booming and taking over when it will get that. So the youth of tomorrow is there.
So talking about the also huge population and rising population in the regions you're investing, so tell me, how many pitch decks do you receive per day, and what makes you to take the call with the founder? Or maybe per week, like we just generalizing, right? Just to
Now, look.
understand the volume.
Yeah, it's 200. I got like with like self-submitting, I don't know, right, like 100 deck a month.
Okay.
And depending on periods, sometimes way lower, sometimes way higher. But first, honestly, when you have on your LinkedIn says, hey, you have a fund that does emerging markets and you get decks, people think, hey, you want to invest in Europe? You just write, I mean, like, I want to tell to founders, please read what the fund actually
Yes.
does and see if you fit in that box. Yes or no. And this already like canceled like 50 of it. And then I think the idea, I'm very pre-seed, I'm very early, look, it's all about the founder. And one of the first questions that comes is, tell me what did you fucked up in your life? What did you fail? And how did you stand back up? How do you see things? Because people who've never really failed and had some darkness somehow, at least how I refer to it too, might be tougher for them. Maybe not, but might be tougher for them to run a biz and to fail and have shit go to shit. So that's one of the questions I ask sometimes.
And how many people then you proceed to the interview, or what do you look into? Let's say you receive the pitch text. Okay, we got to know that okay, it's a market, but then obviously since it's very early stage, do you jump with everyone on the call, or you see more or less if it also resonates with you what they're solving and what's happening in the industry?
Yeah, first you have to see if it matches the frontages. I look at it, blah, blah, blah. And we commit, at least with my fund, that we reply to everyone who submit a deck to our website. Everybody gets a reply. You get a yes or you get a no, period. First, because that's our job
Yeah, exactly. But
to start with.
do you know how many people are not replying nowadays and just replying to you only when they need something from you rather than actually communicating? So I think that's kudos for such behavior.
Then change your people.
Yeah, I'm talking about general. So for me, it's not that I'm applying to myself, but the overall what I keep hearing and the ghostings and the gaslightings, etc. But anyway, Okay, now we're getting closer to the end, but I have a couple of questions that I have to ask you. One question. How did it feel for you when all your success came to startups? We know about the Nasdaq bell on the different valuations. Do you feel like you succeeded, or you just kept working and grinding?
No, right away I had a daughter, so forget it. Forget about your own time. It's gone. No, I think it's funny because when you're a kid or way younger or in your 20s and blah, 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 oh my God, one day if I have millions of dollars, I will just go on the beach and have a mojito and fuck around and just dance. But turns out that not at all. You just want to keep fulfilling yourself into giving meaning to your life. And I discovered that it certainly was not money. It's about achievement. So yes, I celebrate a bit every day. I celebrate every day when I can go to supermarket and don't have to think if I can afford to buy all the food I want that day. That's a celebration. I can celebrate where we helped a bunch of kids and convinced them through campaigning and speaking to them and paying for it to not take drugs, because a 16 years old teenager that decides to go to school and not take cocaine outside with a bunch of folks, he's a miracle. And I celebrate like that too. And through various NGOs, Epic Foundations and so on that I work with. So that's how I celebrate actually. I really, that it's through daily little life changes.
That's so great. It's being just grateful. I heard about one practice actually, a girl I was talking to, and she said that one of the ways you can rewire your brain and actually to have more fulfillment by just writing down or thinking of 3 things you're grateful today. That resonates: food, waking up, being healthy. And usually I think we just get to that point about gratefulness when something is taken from us or something that we take for granted and it's taken from us away. And only then we kind of unfortunately manage to be aware of that and conscious. Anyway, that's so great to hear. And what would you say to 16 years old Noah?
Well, back in the days, my name was Abdul Karim, so it was my Arabic name. And I will tell him, you're fucking fucked up, dude. But know that during your first 15 years, you've been equipped. You've had the seed planted in you by a very loving grandmother that raised you instead of you becoming a full foster kid. And that seed somehow and someday will grow and turn you towards the man you're set to become. So keep walking towards that man. He's waiting for you. And do not stop at any dog barking on the way. Just keep walking and keep fucking up like you're going to do until you learn the hard way and reach your full potential.
What would be your final thought to ponder for anyone who is listening to this episode? A question, a thought, a reflection.
Yeah. Be open to any life path that comes across you and around you. Be curious about people, not judgmental. Be curious. Ask questions. Discover. Be open to it. Nobody owns the truth, because the truth is whatever anyone wants to make of it. There is no one truth in life. 10 plus 5 makes 15, and so does 20 minus 10. Or 20 minus 5, if I want to get back to 15. You know what I mean? My math was wrong. I didn't sleep last night.
You what? You didn't sleep last night?
No, my daughter is still growing. It's fucking Dracula.
Oh, it's okay. You're looking good. You have your style. You have your visual identity ready for the video. It's fine. Thank you so much, Noah, for finding time and for
Thanks to you,
being
pal.
here with us today and
You
for
bet, puppy.
sharing a brief insight into your story and mind. And yeah, till next time, I guess, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. It was Noa Khamallah, and then we will leave the links in the podcast show notes. Thank you.